Wow. Kobe would be proud of
Hey,
him.
you know what, Skip?
Yeah.
Kobe will be proud of him because
Yeah.
I'm not going to forget. Kobe came into the Garden in 2002. You know how many shots he took on me? 47 shots. Ooh. For 41 points. So Kobe will be proud of you, Dejounte.
Well, would you remember how many he missed that night?
He was like 17 for 47, something like that. But can you imagine the pressure of him coming down every single time, shooting, putting pressure on you? I was like, that's what that reminded me of.
Okay, so did last night leave you with even a little bit of concern about your Boston Celtics?
You know what? When I saw it live, I was like, no, I'm not concerned. But then when I drove in this morning, I was like, you know what? It did leave me a little more concerned. It was at a level 2, the first loss, because it was a 30-point lead. But now it went to 3 as far as level up out of 10. Okay. As far as level of concern. And the reason why, because down the stretch of the season, you want to start developing your mindset. You don't want to get too complacent. You know, yeah, you guys are going to have home court for all of the Eastern Conference playoff games. And so, but you got to start developing your mind for the big picture. Teams like Atlanta, you should crush every single time.
Absolutely.
And I don't want that to creep in, especially at this stage of the season. They've only lost back-to-back games, second time this month, though. So they've done it 3 times all year. Yep. So I don't want this mindset to come in like, oh, we wrapped up home court advantage throughout the whole possible playoffs. There's 6 games ahead of Denver for getting it throughout the whole playoffs. So I think right now the concern is like, look, let's finish off the season strong going into the playoffs, because I don't want these things to creep. Because last year they lost to Orlando 3 times. They did. Which was the worst team in the league. And it was like, you know, that little right there, that little stretch right there, it looked like it came back to haunt them when they played Miami in the playoffs last year. And so hopefully this is a good wake-up call going into the playoffs to say we can't revert to what we did last year and have these hiccups to where it costs us to where we get back to that mentality in the playoffs. Other last concern, it's just a lot of one-on-one going on in the fourth quarter, which was a habit of theirs that they reverted to last year, which I think caught them. Instead of, you know, you got 5 guys, 6, 7 guys who can play. So if they can realize, look, we can't revert to our old habits of a year ago and realize that and snip it in the bud right now, they'll be fine.
Look, I still would consider Boston the favorite to go to the NBA Finals from the Eastern Conference. This doesn't change that. It's not that kind of level of concern. But I do think you have to look at this and say this is a serious red flag in that you lose at the beginning of the week, that's a blip. This tells me you're 100 games ahead of Milwaukee for first place in the East, that, hey, this team isn't to your level. You are going to play teams in the playoffs that are way below your level, that you are way ahead of in the standings. And if you cannot focus in games like this, that is a problem. It also sort of explained a little bit about their problems at the end of games, right? We saw again and again, their crunch time numbers overall are fine, right? They're good. In fact, they're better than they were when they last went to the NBA Finals. However, when you get to the final 30 seconds of a game, in the final 30 seconds of a game that's within 3 points, the Celtics are 7 of 25 from the field, 2 of 11 from 3, 5 of 14 from 2. This is a team that has trouble organizing and executing at the very end
those are good
of
numbers.
Games that count. That is a concern that I saw last night. So I just think that these are little indicators, as you say, of things that they could face in a playoff situation. It's not like, oh, we're not going to play Atlanta. No, you're likely not going to play Atlanta. However, you are going to play teams you are way ahead of. And if you let them back into series, if a game goes here or a game goes there, and then all of a sudden someone gets hurt, you see how these things start to unravel. And Boston just doesn't want to get anywhere near that. And by the way, if I'm Damian Lillard, I watched that game last night and I saw what Dejounte Murray did, and I thought, well, I'm better than him. I could do that.
No, Damian Lillard got to be worried about what he did against New Orleans.
Well, I agree, but I'm just saying when you look
against the Lakers.
Against the Lakers.
Against the Lakers. But when you look at Dejounte Murray and what he was able to do last night, there are shooters in this league who could make that kind of impact.
But to his listen, Dejounte Murray, they going into this game like there's no pressure. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. He took 44 shots. When you play with no pressure, just like when you see the Lakers play without LeBron, there's no pressure on them. it's easier to play. So, you know, I nip it in the bud.
The Celtics losing to LeBron without Lakers team without
That's
LeBron.
what just happened.
Yeah, you know,
right.
so.
Paul, I told you this the other day. My first problem with the Celtics is they do live and die by the three. And it wasn't so apparent last night, but it was on Monday night because,
second half.
because once the immortal Sam Hauser has to play and goes 2 of 10 from 3 in the starting lineup, you're probably going to lose that 30-point lead, and you did. All right. I also told you on Tuesday's show, your 2 kids, I know they're becoming men right before your very eyes, but they're both supremely talented. You know them both very well.
Yep.
There are just moments in a season when you say, okay, you 2, you have to say no. You have to, when you're up 30 in Atlanta, and they are a playoff team, so they're respectable, and you just have to say, okay, that's enough of that. We're not going to allow this to happen down the stretch of this game. And if it comes to crunch time, they have to figure out how, is it your turn or is it my turn? Because one of us have to slam the door shut. Last night, they had chance after chance after chance to slam the door shut on a team that is not nearly as good as they are. And it became the biggest 1-on-5 display of offensive basketball I think I've seen. Well, it's been a long time since I've seen anything like this, because Dejounte just finally said, I'm just going to do it every time. And Joe Mazzulla decided, we're the Boston Celtics. I got Drew Holiday. I got Derek White. We'll switch them back and forth. Drew took him in the end of the game in the overtime, but they did not try to take the ball out of Dejounte's hand, because they're better. They're above that. We're not going to just force the rest of them to beat us.
Should have done the Nick Nurse box and one.
That is correct. You could do that. I thought about that, because this was just Dejounte or bust. And I've loved him since he was a Spur. I wish he were still a Spur, because I would like to see him with Wemby. That would be interesting to me. But no, they wanted to start completely over. Okay, so the point is, in overtime, he was, let's see, Dejounte took 8 shots in overtime. No other starter took a shot, and only one other teammate took 1 shot. So he's just bringing it down. It's like 1-on-5. I'm just dribble, and I'm going to create a shot. Maybe make it, maybe not. And I'm going to miss a whole lot, but I'm going to make some too, and I'm going to beat you in the end. Well, that shouldn't happen to the Boston Celtics. So I'm projecting to the top. If, in fact, the Lakers figure out a way to get through the West and get to the finals, I would favor them over Boston because of games like this. Because I still believe that AD and LeBron, and with some help from Austin Reeves and D'Lo and Rui, I think they can figure themselves out before this team can in those crunch time moments. That's just me. That's why it disturbed me to watch them last night. Look, they didn't play as hard as the Hawks, and I give them that because it's dog days. You're just trying to get to the end.
Twice in 1 week, though?
Just twice in 1 week
I don't
in
give
the
it to
same
them the
building.
second time.
Okay.
I
not
give
the second one.
too many lemon pepper wings? Do you think that was the
In
issue?
Atlanta, lemon
That's what I
pepper.
mean.
Oh, yeah. Gets you every time. Gets you every time.
Yeah.
But no, it's one thing. It's one thing to have it happen once. But to your point, you've got to sit there and say, "Great, we just got embarrassed. We gave up a 30-point lead. We played the same team in the same building. 3 nights later, we're going to make a stand and we're going to make a point." We on the show yesterday, you had us pick whether they were going to cover a 17-something spread, and we both said yeah. Keyshawn and I both said yes.
And I said there is no way.
Should have done.
Like I said, I am taking those points. It dropped down to, I think when we did it on the show, it was 16 at that point. And I said, I don't care. They're an NBA team. If you give me 16 at home, I'm running with it, and I would have been pretty good last night.
Look, though, check this out. The Boston Celtics have cruised through the regular season, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
They've had no adversity.
Correct.
I look at this as a little form of adversity. And on your road to the championship, you have to deal with some adversity. So maybe this is a wake-up call. Like, look, we lost to Atlanta twice. This could be the first 60-win team to have a player meeting after that game.
Yeah, maybe.
A team player meeting.
I like that. That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I think it's
guys,
time for that.
It might be time for them to come together like, look, we 2 weeks away from the playoffs.
Yep.
Yeah, we got a 57 wins, 16 losses, but look, it's go time. And so maybe this is something that probably should have happened, and I'm happy that it happened right now, because we don't want this to happen in the playoffs to where you just think you're too good and you can just cruise and win. So maybe this is something that should have happened. I'm happy that they did lose twice to the same team in 1 week, and I hope this is a wake-up call.
Okay. So I am the biggest Drew Holiday fan because I love his toughness. I love his backbone. I love his leadership, his physicality, especially on the defensive end. And he was such a great pickup. And I still say Milwaukee will miss that part of his intangibles. He'll be 35 in June, and he's played 15 years. So he's not exactly in the middle of his prime. He's sort of at the back end of his career. So I'm thinking, well, is he still that guy? Can he still, because I go way back to the playoff where it was New Orleans versus Dame, and he just took Dame out of the series. They swept him because of Drew on Dame.
I remember.
Okay, I'm not sure he can do that anymore. So that was interesting to me that Dejounte was getting him at a time when I thought Drew was the missing piece here. Obviously, he's replacing Marcus Smart, but I think in some ways he can be even better than Marcus Smart, all told, all everything that he brings.
In that circumstance, you can actually put White on him because last year White was an
really
all-defensive
good.
player too. So they're kind of similar. So we have options. Like, you could have put Derek White on him.
That's my point. You don't need Drew to be that defender that you're talking about as he was with Damian Lillard. That team has enough going on in enough different places that team defensive concept can be there. That was one shot, but I would say that Drew Holiday is still one of the excellent defenders in the league.
Absolutely. I mean, he played great deep. I mean, Dejounte Murray shoots 18 44. I mean, what more do you want? I mean, come on.
Yeah, if you look at the overall
19 from 3.
I know, if you looked at the overall numbers, you'd say, well, there's no way Atlanta won this game, right?
Well, look, again, I would look at the end of these games, the games that they have lost, and I do want to point out, in clutch time, the way the NBA defines it, they're actually doing pretty well. You just have to make it even smaller, and you go to the final 30 seconds, and that's where you see some of the issues. But that's what finals games come down to, right?
Absolutely.
That's what Eastern Conference Finals games come down to.
Yeah, when you got a Boston team who's breaking all these records of points margin per game at 11, that's going to be historic. Does that
matter to you, though?
Yeah, because now you're like, what you're saying, Rachel, is like, if you can get the Bostons down to 30 seconds and it's a 1 or 2 point game, then you have a shot. But if not, then pretty much they're going to run away with the game.
The point differential number does not matter to me that much because points are so inflated now. The fact that they are now beating teams by more points than has happened in the history of X or Y or Z, it just kind of goes with point inflation to me. That being said, I think they have been historically good in a lot of other areas. And to your point, they will beat you, and they will beat you by a lot. And then the question is, if you can get them at the very end of games with that small margin, that is where they have shown a weakness, and they got to clean that up because that's what NBA Finals games are.
That's what it is. So, Paul Pierce, they're still going to win it all?
They're going to win it all.
Okay.
It's hard for them to get up for Atlanta. You know, let it be Milwaukee. Let it be the Lakers with LeBron. You know, they're up for these games. I mean, Atlanta, Jaylen Brown's home. He probably went out with his whole family to dinner.
Oh,
you know, and it's you got into a relaxed type of mood. You know, that's home. You got the guys out.
So I think you just talked yourself back into a level of concern.
It's a 3.
Oh, I thought you.
It's a 3 out of 10. The 3 is the level of concern.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.